Hello, my loves. Welcome to V for Vibrant. My name is Kellyanne, and I want you to consider the difference between the meanings and the definitions of these words: results, effects, and consequences. What is the difference in the meaning of these words? If you don't already know, I will give you a hint. They include the other words in their definitions. The answer is they all have the same definition. But if you hear results, effects, and consequences together, you might have your own slightly different prescribed meaning. And it might not, if you think about it logically with your brain, with your big, beautiful brain, you might not think that there's anything different about the definitions or the meanings, but when you tune into the word consequences, likely it'll feel a lot different from effects and results. Effects and results, cause, effect, the results of the experiment, they're very scientific, and that's what they're used for. But consequences was used by big ol' adults and grown-ups in our lives to try and scare us out of taking risks or try to scare us after we've taken a big ol' risk that didn't pay out for us. Consequences was used likely instead of results and effects because it's a big word, makes it more scary for adults to wield against children. And also, consequences is not really used anywhere else. So, although it is a neutral word and the meaning behind it is neutral, just like results and effects, effects with an E, even though it's a neutral word, we still have feelings about it. We still have some kind of negative connotation. We associate with that word negative feelings or negative ideas. I wanted to start this video with a linguistic sort of overview of meanings versus connotations because I was recently I got a card reading from a friend who told me that I need to start going through the motions. That whenever I want to, we played. Okay, we played a really. I don't know if y'all just saw me spit, but I spit so far just now. we played, um, we played essentially Mad Libs, but with a tarot card reading or an oracle card reading, and it was really incredible because I wrote down things like when I am worried about blank, I can lighten up because blank always gets me back to my joy. And the answers were so funny because it was like when I am worried about, and then the card that she pulled for when I am worried about blank, the meaning of that card was like, you have everything, you're good, you have nothing to worry about. Like the meaning of the card was there is nothing to worry about. So I was like, it answered this question verbatim. And then the second part told me that going through the motions brings the fun back. I have nothing to worry about. uh, but if I did worry, going through the motions brings the fun back. And that was really incredible for me because I was like, going through the motions is so boring, capitalist, boomer that I don't think I can do it. But my friend also included the word rituals, and I have a positive I have positive associations with rituals. I have negative associations with going through the motions. Can y'all tell me if it's the same for you? Can you just like in the comments let me know if going through the motions has a negative connotation for you and you just feel like, oh, it's such a drudgery word. Let me know in the comments, please, because I want to know if we're on the same page here. Because as I was getting this reading, I was like, going through the motions brings the fun back. What do you mean? But immediately she used the word rituals, and I was like, oh, there's some element of feeling really good that rituals brings me to, but it's not necessarily that, I can do something really quick and like cracking your back or something like that. Gah, gah, quick fix. You feel immediately the slightest bit of relief. But I mean, like, there are certain things that you have to like really sit with so that it's a process for you to get to the place where it makes you feel really good. Therapy is one of them. Therapy is a process. You're not going to feel good after the first visit, but if you ritualize the practice, as in you treat the practice as sacred, then you keep showing up and you start getting more and more results or consequences or effects. But results is the right word here, right? Um, you start getting results that are what you intended when you started the ritual of going to therapy. Same with yoga. Like, you can practice it. I'm so sorry. I have like a little bit of nostril moisture. And honestly, I was one of those kids who would be in class and I would have like a little drippy sitting on the end of my nose, and I didn't know for years that other people could see it. I thought it was like on the inside of my nose and it was just in there tickling me. And then later I like went and looked in the mirror when it was happening one time and I was like, "Oh no, people could see me just sitting there with a drip at the edge of my nose all those years." Not even internal screaming, thoroughly external screaming. Yoga is another one of those practices that, if we treat it as sacred, it becomes a ritual and it leads us to feeling physically so much better over time. Like the results, the consequences of going into the ritual are more often than not that you feel better afterward. And it's not always going to be after the first time, but if you go through the motions, then you will get to the thing that feels good. And I get the sense that I haven't been having much fun lately because my body hasn't been feeling great. I've been really neglecting all of my rituals that bring me to a place where I am going to feel better in my mind, in my body, in my emotional body. And I realized, oh, going through the motions means I'm bringing myself to that place by attending to this ritual. And rituals aren't even just like things that you do because they have the intention, because you intend to feel better in some particular way, or you intend to drive a result in some particular way. And so that's why you start the ritual. Sometimes there are rituals that exist, like communal rituals and communal traditions that we operate on as family units or as friend units, as organizational units, as groups. Um, and then there's also like mm, external initiators. Like the other day, a ritual for me is when it rains, there are two things that I do. Well, there are several options for when it rains. When it rains, I might get the dog on the leash and get him to our door, the door of our apartment, and just open the door, prop it open, and sit, and both of us sit at the precipice of our apartment and just watch the rain together and take in the smells and the sights until we get a little bit of a gust of wind blow some rain back on us, some spray on us, and then we go, okay, it's time to go back inside. um Sometimes it's to just like go straight into my bed and just enjoy a little nap. If the timing is right and it starts raining, I'm like, it just got a little darker. We got the pitter patter. It's time. I treat my sleep as sacred, so let me go and attend to this ritual. That wasn't initiated by me; it was initiated by the rain. But I hear you. I hear what the associations are for me, and I'm going to choose to participate. I'm going to choose to go through the motions. The other ritual for when it rains is to just sit by the window and crack the window or crack the windows in the whole house and let like the sounds of the rain be everywhere and the smell of the moisture in the air just cleanse everything in the atmosphere of my home, and watch the rain or get a journal and just get a little pensive. There are a few different things that could be, you know, initiated by me, could be initiated by like a cultural phenomenon, cultural tradition, or it could be uh, initiated by nature, by something that's going on around us. I mean, we have a ritual that we do as Floridians. When it's hurricane season, we all have the ritual of treating our homes as sacred places. And so we put up hurricane shutters on our windows to protect the eyes of our home. And, you know, I wanted to. I wanted to sip some watermelon juice with you. Because I wanted to make sure that I pass along this moment in my life where I realize that the universe is trying to guide me to go through the motions, to operate from a a small devotion, a small disciplined devotion to what is sacred to me, in a way that might be hard for me if I thought about it in a different way. Because discipline is hard for ADHD people. Hi, fellow autistic and ADHD people. Hello. Discipline, right? The autism wants it, the ADHD can't stand it. And devotion is still hard for me because the associations that I make with devotion is it's the same as discipline. It's that devotion, it's when you show up as disciplined, when you show up with consistency, you're stepping on holy ground when you do it. Like the devotion is to step onto holy ground and be consistent there. Discipline is more neutral to me. Neutral and maybe even negative, because I associate discipline with like military folks and almost like hustle grind culture. So we've got like capitalist American culture, and then we've got military industrial complex culture. And yeah, oh, I'll say that I have negative connotations with with discipline because I choose not. I choose not to do that, and to have that and to even want that when I'm told that I just need to be more disciplined, I'm like, I'd rather not. I don't want to be that kind of person who's, never resting and hard on themselves and others. I don't want to do that. So, so uh, I wanted to bring like this conversation around word meanings into the fold of V for Vibrant and everything that I share here with y'all, because I think it's really important to put my linguistics degree to use, but also to like continue to ground our spiritual practices and our spiritual growth and development in psychology, in sociology, in linguistics, in all of these scientific fields that uh, mirror some of the spiritual phenomena that we see that we can't necessarily ground in the same way, in the same like scientific, evidential way. And I'm sure we're getting to a place where we can. I'm sure science is veering in that direction because so many people are waking up to the fact that we're kind of enslaved by the uh, social structures that we have, and we need to help ourselves help each other get out, or you know create an environment outside, and multiple environments outside of those social structures, and systemic structures. um, and I think for us to be able to get out of there together, we need to feel grounded as we go, as opposed to just like cult leader type shit, just following people into the abyss and not knowing what's coming next, but also not knowing anything about this sort of good feeling, spiritual joy that we get once we start opening ourselves up to, I can feel differently. I have control over my life. These systems can't control me, although I do have to participate in them in order to survive. Both things can be true at the same time. I wanted to bring into this environment that as we open ourselves to new environments and we create new environments for us to, commune with joy in together, that we need some of this grounding so that we ourselves as individuals don't necessarily glom on to influencers and gurus. We can have our own grounding of the spiritual knowledge that we might come across. And for today's lesson, we're getting into linguistics because if my here you go. Here is an honorary linguistics degree for you, because the thing that I learned, the major takeaway from my linguistics entire education, was that language influences thought and thought influences language. So if you're saying certain things or you're hearing certain things all the time, certain words all the time, then that's like cream that rises to the top, and then that's what you're using all the time. Those are the words that you're picking from all the time. So if you don't have access to other words, first of all, and you also don't have exposure, like consistent, frequent exposure to those words all the time, then you're not going to be using them. You're going to be using the words that you are given, and those words are going to influence the way that you think. Which is why affirmations, on some level, work. Because some people were given affirmational words, some people were given words of gratitude and words of affection as they were growing up. But not all of us had that, and not all of us had the emotional support or the intellectual stimulation or the physical grounding in our environments, in our, you know, growing up environments as children. So those words that we were exposed to influence the way that we thought about the world, about ourselves, about each other, and going through the motions and consequences might have been some of those words. Discipline might have been some of those words. I never heard the word devotion growing up. I When I think of devotion, I think of devotional, which is a Catholic thing, which is a Christian thing. Tell me if I'm wrong. Um, so words influence thought, or language influences thought, and thought influences language. So if you think and you have a belief that was passed down to you that women are inferior to men in any way, they can't lift as much weight, they can't work the same jobs, they can't do the same tasks, they can't think to the same level of intelligence, they can't be leaders, and those are the thoughts that that influenced you growing up, then it will have affected your language. Your thoughts will have influenced the language that you use. So you might tend to say girls instead of women when you're talking about grown up female adult humans, excuse me. When you're talking about adult females, you might, if you believe that women are inferior to men and you're a man or a woman, you might call adult females girls instead of women when what you actually mean is women, because that's the definition of women, adult female humans. You might, if you have the belief that black folks are inferior to white folks, which is ingrained in our society and has been separating us on purpose for many, many years. Many, many years, since before the inception of the country which we call the United States of America. If you have those beliefs that were ingrained in you, and I'll say I had them ingrained in me, it was very clear that we were like not around black people when I was growing up, because me and my sister and my dad took the train one day. And if you've lived in South Florida, you know there's one train. There's only one train, and it's the Tri-Rail. It's one train. And we would go take the train. And my sister used Crayola crayon coloring terms to talk about the people that she saw on the train. She said something along the lines of, "Daddy, why are there so many brown? Are there a lot of brown people? Or why are there so many brown people?" And I remember that the conversation went on to like, "Yeah, but we're peach people." So it wasn't the same as like white and black. She was going by literal actual skin color, like peach is what we used to color, white people as we were coloring as kids, and brown is what you would use to color black people, and the color of their skin as kids. And we didn't have exposure. Okay, talking about exposure again, we didn't have exposure to a lot of black folks. And we also, because of the social structure that we grew up in, we were also reaping the benefits of white supremacy all the time. So our our thoughts became aligned with it being okay with maligning Black folks. Because I'll just say, and this is one of those things that I'm not proud of, but I will say for the purpose of shedding shame so that we can level up and get past the things that we feel ashamed of in order to become better people and in order to develop resilience against shame induced by our culture that keeps us from evolving and that keeps us from personal growth and personal development. I'll say that I'll just say I used to use the N word when I was in high school because I didn't have a lot of Black people in my life. And also, I didn't know it was a bad thing to say. I would be my sister and I would be listening to music, and we would just think it was okay to say it. And now that I know better and she knows better as well, um, we've both had the conversation of like, yeah, we thought it was okay because our the thoughts that we had, the beliefs and the stories that we had at the time didn't even include Black people. And so our language was influenced by that environment that we were in, and the lack of uh, cultural and racial and um, what is it called? Um, intersectional knowledge and understanding. We didn't have those conversations. Like our parents weren't having these conversations with us. Our teachers weren't having conversations about this with us. Family members, weird aunties, were not having these conversations with us. We got a weird conversation from our aunt about never shaving, and we both, well, I'll speak for myself again. I ended up not shaving anything anymore, like maybe 10 years later after that weird conversation that I ended up really appreciating. But yeah, we weren't having these conversations as white folks around each other. I'm surrounded by white people, and ta-da, our our thoughts don't center the Black experience. And so they influence the language that we were using or not using to talk about and to be familiar with talking about the Black experience in the United States. So like we have there's your linguistics degree wrapped up. You have examples of both, and I hope you have an understanding of language influences thought and thought influences language, because that's all you really need to know about linguistics. And we really need to be grounded in the understanding of language influences thought and thought influences language, because if you are on a spiritual growth mission, you want to be able to take something like going through the motions and address your feelings toward those words. So something like consequences, and address your feelings toward those words and be able to understand, was this a language influencing my thoughts situation, or was this a my thoughts influencing language situation? And the answer is always yes. The answer is always yes. Was it this or that? Yes. Yep. It was both. It is necessary that we develop the skill to be able to do that as individuals, question our own thoughts and question where they come from. Because on the spiritual journey, there will always be, signs and symbols that we're getting for ourselves, but also messages that are being delivered to us by other people like me. Like me! You'll be hearing lots of messages from me, but you might not always agree with everything I say, and that's great. Please disagree with me respectfully in the comments. I want to hear about it. I want my thoughts and my language to be provoked to change as well. If you're here to change, welcome. Here's what we're doing. That's what we're doing here. In this corner of the internet, we are provoking ourselves to change. That's what YouTube is for, right? I mean, YouTube's got real silly fun stuff for entertainment, but also the phrase YouTube University doesn't mean nothing, didn't come from nowhere. We're all educating ourselves here. And whether it's entertaining and silly, like I am here, or try to be at least, or not, you're probably here to change and adapt and evolve in some kind of way. And I think it's really important to be able to frame our experiences in ways that help us reframe all of our other experiences. And I'm like waiting for like, is there anything else that I need to share? I feel complete. Let me know what you thought about this video and the context of me bringing more of my linguistics knowledge into the fold here. And like this video, share it with a friend if you feel like it was, worth something to you. And uh, subscribe. That would be cool. Just as a little announcement here at the end, Free Reading Friday is back. So 9 p.m. or 9:30 p.m. I'm gonna maybe fiddle with the time a little bit just to see if everybody's going to be able to be available at 9 p.m. I mean, everybody as in like, people getting off work on the Pacific Coast at 5 p.m., that kind of thing. I'm trying to put it late enough at Eastern time, 9 p.m. Eastern time, so that I can make sure that the rest of the United States also can jump into this YouTube live and get a card reading for free. It's first come, first serve, and that's what's going to happen every Friday going forward on this channel from now on, unless I say otherwise. Unless I make an announcement letting you know that I'm putting it on pause or something like that. But I really miss doing it, and it's back. So tonight is going to be the first Free Reading Friday back. But set your alarms, make a calendar, a recurring calendar event, so that you can always remember that a free card reading is just a YouTube live away. I love y'all so much. You are deserving of all the love you desire. And I hope you have a beautiful, wonderful rest of your day. See you, babes.